Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Uncle Matt's Cookery Lessons with Caponata. Hello, in this video I'm going to be making a salad, a beautiful Caponata salad from Sicily. It's made, the main ingredient is this thing, and like all of these, I think these are the best dishes around the world. It's made out of necessity and, you know, the affordability of ingredients. So I think originally for the more wealthy Sicilians, it was more of a swordfish type dish, and then the locals discovered, the peasants discovered that aubergines actually make it wonderful. And I love this salad, made it many times over the last couple of months. I have altered the recipe slightly, so if you get offended by it being not exactly how Mama makes it, you know, I'm sorry about that. But what I've done is I've tried to recreate it without the sugar in it, because this has what's called a agrodolce, I think if I pronounced that right, who knows, sauce, which is like the French gastrique, vinegar and sugar. I find that my taste buds lately, since I've really sort of hardly had any sugar at all, I just don't want it anymore. I am, however, adding some raisins to it, those are there, and yeah, they add that little touch of sweetness, I think, which is going to balance with the vinegar. It's really, really lovely, and I think you're going to really like this one. Right, so we have quite a few ingredients to prepare. Get the parsley chopped out of the way. Now the main ingredient is the aubergine or eggplant. I'm going to dice this roughly, but I'm going to keep those dices reasonably the same size, as Chef John would say. You know, pick a size and stick to it, and I think that's a good size. And what we're going to do after I've prepped all those, I'm going to salt them and leave them to sort of sit with the salt on for about half an hour or so while I prepare the rest of the ingredients. The measurements of the salt was not there, but it's about a tablespoon. It doesn't matter because we're going to rinse it off later. It's there just to extract some water, and with that a bit of bitterness. So celery, bell pepper and onion all about to be diced up. I'm keeping those very similar size to each other, a little bit smaller than I did the aubergine. And yeah, just basically just hack them up. It doesn't really matter. This is not a fancy looking salad. It's very rustic, but just try to keep those sizes regular. So I have a little wipe down there, and we do the onion. The basic technique for dicing an onion there, one cut across horizontally. Well, you've seen me do it probably many times. You've seen other people do it, but I like to just do this bit here when I get to the core. Just don't waste that bit. Yeah, there's onion there, and with the cost of ingredients nowadays and where they're going, don't waste any, okay? So next up is going to be the tomato, and I'm going to have a little word with you. Oh, that reminds me of my granddad's greenhouse. While we're in a good mood, would you mind clicking that like button, or leaving me a comment, or subscribing to the channel, or sharing this with your friends, or even clicking that bell button, because all those things, or any of those things, will really, really help this channel to grow, and it's going to with your help. Thank you so much. Yeah, seriously, any help you can give me, I would really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Okay, so the tomatoes, I'm using fresh tomatoes in this recipe. Some I've seen have tomato paste or puree. I just prefer it with the freshness like so. So not really sticking to any side, and just pretty much roughly chopping them up, making a bit of a mess, and get that messy, pulpy tomato stuff into a bowl and have a little wipe down. There's a couple more ingredients to go. Here's olives. These are brined and pitted green olives. Choose any olives you like, and these are pine nuts, and that is a slightly warm, on a low heat, a dry pan, and I'm just toasting them, but don't leave them, they will burn if you don't pay attention, and they're expensive too. So yeah, when you're happy with those, get them out of the pans so they don't over colour. And now it's put our attention back to this aubergine, shall we, or eggplant. You can see some moisture coming out. Excellent. That's what you're supposed to do. Now, if you want to forego this whole process, don't salt them. You can actually just oil them. You can even put them on a roasting tray with olive oil and roast them in the oven. And it looks really good that way. I like to try to do it this way. So once I've rinsed them to get all that salt off and squeezed out as much of the water as I can with a tea towel, I'm going to fry them. And yes, that is a lot of olive oil. This is sort of medium-high heat. Olive oil will burn if you have it too hot, so just be careful. You're going to have to use your senses here, but you do want to fry. You want to get these nice caramelised. It's going to take 5 to 10 minutes, and let's say that's just adjust the heat up and down. If you think it's going a bit too hot, turn it down. If it's, if it looks like they're not frying at all, turn it up a little bit, and just keep going and going and going until you get to sort of this stage here. And as I say, if you had them in the oven the whole time, knock yourself out. It'll be perfectly fine, I'm sure. But I like to not upset all the nonas out there too much.
So in goes the rest of my ingredients with a great load more of olive oil and a little bit of salt. The salt helps to speed up the cooking process. And just, again, pay attention to this the whole time. Don't leave this alone, it will burn and you'll kick yourself. So once we're happy we've got it nice and caramelised, nice little brown bits there, deglaze the pan with the red wine vinegar and in with the raisins. So this would normally be where you would put sugar in, and if you like, add some sugar as well, or maybe when you taste it at the end, you can always add a teaspoon or two of sugar if you think it needs that touch of sweetness. But I find, for my palate now, those raisins are all the sweetness I want. Now this is where I curse my camera again, because the batteries ran out, and basically I put the aubergine and the peppers and stuff in the bowl already with the tomatoes. So you missed that bit, sorry. Anyway, the rest of the ingredients go in. A few twists of black pepper, because I love that stuff. Never have enough of it. And basically give this a good old turnaround. And this is while it's all still warm, because those flavours are really going to get to know each other. But I like to eat this chilled. So we're going to put it in the fridge in a minute. And I just thought, wow, that looks a bit dry. It looks like it needs some more olive oil. It probably didn't, but I love that stuff. So this is a couple of hours later. That has had a chance to cool. And this would obviously, people will be saying, this will be better the next day. Yes, and the day after that, and the day after that. This stuff gets better and better. This is where I adjust the seasoning, salt and pepper. Finish off with some beautiful, fresh, summery basil, because that stuff is gorgeous. Give that a stir around. Put it in a nicer looking bowl, because we're going to serve this. And you can serve this with something, but for me, that's the star of the show. A few little sprigs of basil to make it look really sexy. And I'm going to hand you over to me for the tasting.
All right, let's taste this gorgeous caponata salad. Lots of ingredients. You know, if any of them you don't like, don't have them. But something else you like, put it in. It's definitely like, that's a peasant dish, and I'm sure from town to town in Sicily, each nonna makes it slightly different from the other one, so don't get too offended if you're not happy with this, but absolutely gorgeous. Thank you again for watching. Thank you for liking and subscribing and sharing and all of those wonderful things. I really appreciate it, and I'll catch you in the next video. Come pretty soon. Bye. That's the aubergine.